You ain't got nobody fat. Jeez.
Oh my God!
I get good and you wanna me, Mom? Just say so. Go ahead, here. Huh? Go ahead, Mom. Me.
You just come in girls without even asking? Like, Jesus.
Holy shit! You're damn right. Stand by to the hospital. They can't reattach the film. Delete.
So, what if Kakashi had the 9 tails and Mike Guy had the 8 tails? Instead of Mike Guy fighting against the legendary swordsman and dying, the third Hokage would have taken his place and fought against him. Mike Guy would have fought against the 8 tails and would have defeated the 8 tails and gave the 8 tails to his son. Sure, Mike Guy wouldn't have no reason to give the 8 tails to Mike Guy, but let's say the third Great Ninja War was extremely brutal. And a lot of Hidden Leaf ninjas was dying. Orochimaru faked his own death as he would have grown tired and wouldn't have want any part of it anymore. No part of the war. He was just like, fucking, I'm out. Tsunade would have lost the strength and the will to continue since the death of her brother and her lover. The only people who would have made the war winnable would have been Minato, Jiraiya, and Might Guy. Fast forward over to Obito attack on the Hidden Leaf village. Minato and Kakashi would have been there, and during the battle to save the Hidden Leaf village, Minato would have split half his chakra and gave it to Naruto and Kakashi. Minato would have told Kakashi that someday Naruto will need the other half of the 9 tails in order to bring peace into the world. Obito would have been captured by this time, but would have been freed hours later by the Black Zetsu. Mike Guy and Tobirama and Minato would have been the heroes to save the Hidden Leaf village from those dangerous and crazy ass attacks. Mike Guy would have bonded with the 8 tails and had a somewhat of an interesting friendship with him. Kakashi would have looked at Kurama as his last resort after thinking back on what Obito meant by saying saving your friends and being a better person. Kakashi would have spent his years trying to do that, but also trying to figure out what went wrong and how Obito would have ended up that way. Obito would have explained to Tobirama while still being captured at the time that Madara's plans will happen. Tobirama would consistently have the village to be on guard for 12 long years in case Madara would return. Mike Guy would have already learned how to use his 8 tails, while Kakashi would have been sad and also depressed to know that he couldn't save Obito and that it was his fault. Kakashi and Kurama's relationship would be complicated at first until he starts his training to learn how to control the 9 tails. Kakashi would have more control over his 9 tails and probably would be able to use 2 tails without losing his control or his emotion. The coup d'etat would still happen, and the only way Itachi would see Sasuke is during the Forest of Death. Orochimaru would have been watching the whole thing but would have never interfered as he's not ready for Itachi's power. Once when Itachi leaves, that's when Orochimaru gives Sasuke a hickey kiss on the neck and leaves his side. I think Kakashi and Mike Guy would have been the shields and the pillars to protect the Hidden Leaf village. I felt like during the Pain arc, Kakashi would have never died, and instead Pain would have died and Naruto would have never talked with the Nagato Pain and never forged that path with peace with him. Some ninjas would have died, but it wouldn't have been a massacre like in the show. Obito would have killed Nagato and Konan in order to prepare for the 4th Great Ninja War. Orochimaru would have trained Sasuke, but wouldn't have tried to steal his body, as he would have given up on that and just taken Kabuto's body. Orochimaru will later go on to learn Snake Sage Mode and would be an absolute monster. Because here's the thing, it's like, why didn't Orochimaru take Kabuto's body? Because, well, actually, no, I'm bugging. Kabuto wanted Orochimaru to take his body. He was like, yo, I'm fresh, like, what's up? But Orochimaru was like, nah, I still thinking about two Uchihas. I don't really want you. First, it would have been that Kaguya boy, but he died of that weird disease. So, I can't take him. He's dead. And then Sasuke was just on his mind. But it would have been interesting if he would have taken Kabuto's body and just learned Snake Sage mode. He would have been more of a power than what Kabuto was doing. So, later on, Kakashi, Naruto, and Might Guy would probably meet Killer Bee later on for the rest of their training. Killer Bee would have had the Seven Tails at this time. If anything, Tobirama's probably would have caused a full-blown war with the Uchihas. Sarutobi was the only man of peace, while Tobirama knew that the Uchihas were evil and simply wanted them dead. Itachi would have taken Sasuke with him, and they both would have joined the Akatsuki. I know I made them sound overpowered as hell, but I believe it to be true. It's like, Kakashi had a very troubled past. His past was very troubled and stuff, because it was he couldn't save Rin and he couldn't save his best friend Obito, which resulted in Kakashi just being a lone wolf and joining the Ambu Blackouts for a little bit. But on top of that, I felt like Danzo would have had very close ties with him and been okay, I think it would have been interesting because Tobirama and Danzo, since Danzo idolized Tobirama and stuff, but because of his views and stuff, and they both legitimately saw the Uchihas as a threat. I felt there probably wouldn't have been a path for peace and stuff, and it would have been a full ongoing war and stuff. But on top of that, you have Might Guy and Kakashi as tail beasts and stuff, because the original plan in the show was to take Naruto and use him as a weapon, but it didn't work. Well, that was the plan, but the coup d'etat happened and stuff. But yeah. So Kakashi and Might Guy, relationship wouldn't change anything. It's just that they're both tail beasts and stuff. But the Hidden Leaf Village would essentially be the most powerful village, because the Hidden Rain Village doesn't have anything except for the Pains. And then you have the Hidden Cloud, which is basically B's place, and we know how. Well, he wouldn't have the 8, but he would just have the 7 and stuff, like I explained here. But I feel like there will be a lot of changes. Now, Kakashi would still have the Sharingan here, but given how he has, oh my god, I think that shit would make him even more overpowered, because given how he would have the 9 tails plus he's using Sharingan, it wouldn't deplete his Sharingan as much, because it's he would have to cover up his eye in the show, because that's not his Sharingan and he's not a Uchiha and stuff, despite him being very gifted as being Kakashi with a copied over 1,000 jutsus and is able to use a Sharingan like a Uchiha himself. So it's given how he would have that, he would be I think he'd be okay. I think the effects would still apply, that you can't overuse the Sharingan because you would go blind, but I think he probably will be able to use it just enough. And then for my guy, despite having 8 gates and stuff, but if he has 8 gates and then you times that with tail beast energy and chakra, that's a lot. that's a lot. That's a lot. So it's that's a. I mean, he wouldn't necessarily need 8 gates, because he would have tail beast, but shit, fuck it, we just double and shit here. He has that. It's plus 8 gates. It's again, the 4th Great Ninja War. I wouldn't say it would be completely wrapped up, because you still have a looming Madara, and Madara would probably be all right, y'all have to come with me and stuff. A looming Madara will be able to handle both Kakashi and Might Guy and Naruto on top of that and stuff. Oh, and a looming Sasuke and stuff, because everybody remembers how overpowered that those whole Limbo clones things were and stuff. Because the only way, no, I'm bugging, because at the time when Madara had like his abilities and stuff, and when he was using like the limbo clones, Sasuke and Naruto, Sasuke was able to see them, but Naruto was able to feel them. And in a sense, if Madara was to have like his abilities and stuff, you know, Kakashi ain't seeing anything, and the only person that could probably do anything would be my guy, you know. But on top of like, oh well, I didn't throw it into the factor if he was to use like 8 gates on top of, well, I mean that would essentially probably would kill him and stuff. But again, like that shit would be broken as fuck. That shit would be broken as fuck. But yeah. This was more like a discussion than a what if in a sense. I just want to like tie up a lot of things, you know, try to make some things make sense here and there, you know. But yeah. You know, if you like what you heard, you like, you know, please subscribe, share, you know, do all that wonderful stuff, and I'll catch you later. Crazy berserker. Crazy berserker, I killed it, it's murder. Go crazy berserker, I killed it, it's murder. Go crazy berserker, I killed it, it's murder. Go crazy berserker.